That would be right. And if not, Earl move up and just pop all the belts out and let's make everybody just be a frenzy for him.
Yeah, because that's what's going to happen in both divisions. Because if Charlo moves up, then his 4 belts will be open. And they're going to force guys to go after those straps one by one. And then eventually you'll get some unifications within some of those sanctions. But it would be a minute before somebody would be able to consolidate all of them, because it's a money-making business. And they want to try to get as many championship fights as they can within a weight class, instead of one person owning it. So, you know, it's designed that way. Your mandatories, you have to fight them at some point or be stripped of that sanction. That's just the way the game. That's the way that game is played. You can't have a number 1 contender and not fight him at some point without your belt being in jeopardy.
Yeah, you was on it with that one. That was a hot take, you know. I've been to me, man, I talked to you about it because you're gonna keep it real in the subject. That's why. But like in other conversations, man, it's just getting exhausting. I'm ready for this shit to be over. Announce another fight so we can stop talking about all that shit. Cause it's just people just, man. I've never seen so many people just move so many goalposts. I'm like, man, I need to start advertising BodyWork back braces. You know what I'm saying? Because they need to put these goalposts down, man. I've never seen this, man. I've never heard so many people justifying this kind of behavior. It's like, man, I'd be like, am I watching boxing, or is this wrestling, or is this WWF or something? Like, you know, is this Hollywood or what is this? You know, so I try to stay away from it. I try to stay away from it, but I talk to you about it because you keep it real. You know, I know you coming from wanting to see the best fights and keeping it a buck on how these fighters fight and what you actually see. And I don't like yes men, so you don't see everything the way I see it. I learn when I hear you talk and how you look at it, and you reconfirm a lot of things, you know what I'm saying, for me. It's through the boxing lens, with your boxing mind, you know, so I appreciate it.
I'm gonna tell you somebody that when he talks about boxing today and comparing boxing of yesteryear, you know, to me, he's right on point. And that's Roy Jones. Roy Jones says that the boxing fan wants to see the best fight the best. He said when he was champion, he fought the best. And he continued to fight the best, because this is what the fans want to see. And he basically said, in so many words, the fans want to see Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. So give the fans what they want. Now, the negotiations broke down, but he's not technically pointing a finger at anybody. What he's saying that by this fight not happening is a disservice to the fight fans, because they've been waiting to see this. And you know what? I have to agree with him.
Yeah, we pay for it. We talked about this last time. We pay. Look, when you paying and you actually because you know everybody can get a fight if they want to, but when you say like we pay, you see it. You come over here, it's paid for. It was fights on the phone. It was fights on the TV. It's all paid for. When you're paying and you pay attention, you deserve it. Like, you know what I'm saying? They almost be saying, man, F you, fan, you know, when they don't give us what we want. And like, especially the big one like this for this not to happen. So I agree with Roy.
Roy is 100% correct, man, because he said back on his day, everybody fought everybody. You know, he said he didn't duck nobody. And he was right. He did. Roy Jones fought everybody he was supposed to fight. Win or lose. He might have stayed around longer than he needed to, But you know, he kept fighting.
Yeah, Roy was that guy, you know what I'm saying, for me. I mean, the surgeon, you know, he come in there with that surgeon mask, he, you know, and he just had a different vibration, man. He was just at a whole different, you know, it was just like how when you see Barry Sanders on the football field, it's like you see all these dots and just one dot is just moving and acting different than all the other ones, and it's just like Michael Vick. It's just, you know, he was that kind of athlete, man. I mean, when I seen that dude go a whole round just bobbing and weaving, and the first punch he threw was a body shot with some body work, and my man got down and could not stand up. I said, oh man, that's what I fell in love. I didn't know it, but that's when I fell in love with body, you know, because everybody want to hit you in the head. Like whenever somebody fight, they're gonna sneak you and try to hit you in the face. But when I seen that man I seen him hit that man in the body, I said, oh, okay. It gave me a whole different look on fighting, you know. So, you know, that was Roy. You know, I was like, that dude was a bad dude, man. You couldn't hit him, but when he hit you, you knew it.
Oh yeah, definitely. He was, man. During his time as pound for pound, he earned that title, pound for pound, during his day. Yes, he did.
Yeah, and like you said, I just didn't like you know, I just didn't like that. Yeah, he did stay around because it got to a point where I was like, I ain't watching, I ain't buying. I was just praying and hoping Roy would hang him up, man. It's like, man, Roy, we want to remember you because you know what happened to Ali. They shouldn't have let him get back in there. But that was, you know, when you boxing, especially when somebody want to prove, because at the end of the day, they can say they had Roy Jones on their resume. You know what I'm saying? So when whatever form, that's just like Haney getting this version of Lomachenko, and in whatever form, he gonna be able to say that's on my resume. That's a name. Like Bud putting Sean Porter, you know, semi-retired on his. That's a name on his resume. And when you get hit in the head by one of them young hungry lions, or you done moved up biting off more than you can chew, and one of them big boys hit you in the head, you'll never be right.
Yeah.
You know, so I did think he stayed around a little bit too long, but as far as boxing moments and boxing history and just highlights, and you talking about a highlight reel, that was Roy, man. He was a and everybody came out. He was a performer. So
he was a crowd pleaser. Yep. He definitely was.
Yep.
He gave you what you was looking for, the stoppage.
And he's one of the boxers, yeah. And he's one of the boxers, like just like George Foreman. I actually like hearing George Foreman call him. I kind of like hearing Lennox, but Roy, even in commentating, when he moved into commentating, I used to love hearing Roy talk about the fight, because when he's into it, man, he get to telling you, and then he get to telling you what they gonna do before they do it, and tendencies and all that. And I'm like, man, when is he gonna go back to doing that? You know, because he was actually good at that. Did you hear him?
Oh yeah, he was good. He was definitely good. He was good as a commentator. Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought Foreman was good as a commentator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, but yeah, definitely Roy Jones. Yeah, he was definitely good.
I don't know. I think something happened contractually or something with, I don't know, man. But I heard he was in talks with something to start commentating again. I'm like, you know, I'm kind of pulling for him. You know, I know he involved with, you know, training a couple boxers, and he got a little podcast that he doing with Paulie Maldonado where he guests on that. But I wanted to see him get back into commentating. I mean, you know, especially if it's gonna be a change of pace from bias calling, if he just gonna call it straight down the middle and what he see as far as skill, and ain't no agenda behind whatever organization he affiliated with, I would love to hear him call boxing again. You know, we need that. We do need former boxers that still have all their faculties, that, you know, performed at that high level calling these fights, man. I think it'll change the game a little bit, you know, because sometimes you gotta watch boxing with the volume down nowadays.
yeah, you're right. You're right. You absolutely right. But I agree, Roy was a good commentator. Yeah.
But did you have anything was there any other weight class or any other thing or any other news?
No, that was the one thing I wanted to talk to you about, because in our previous conversation about, you know, Spence and Crawford and things of that nature, and who Spence might fight in lieu of not getting the Crawford fight. Then I came across, what Stanionis said, and I think that, he has a valid point. And I wanted to just hear your opinion on Stanionis, because we didn't talk about him as a possible replacement, because we were talking about Thurman and we were talking about Boots.
Right.
And we didn't talk about him. So I just wanted to run that scenario across to you and just wanted to hear what your opinion was.
Look, I'm gonna leave it with this. And just how you said it, we were talking about Thurman, we were talking about Boots, and you had brought up Stanionis, and that's how I have him. He's the dark horse. That's that role that I put him in. I was saying him and Virgil with the dark horse. Virgil ain't so dark no more because he kind of got a lane. I don't know why him and Boots won't just do it. I know why. Because them fighting each other and somebody taking a hit at this point. That fight could be built more, but as a boxing fan, as a selfish boxing fan, I would love to see that. But that's what Stanionis is. He's a dark horse, man. Like, a lot of people gonna say they don't know, and they're gonna say, oh man, especially all the people who don't really care for Earl or his style or whatever, whatever. That's the first thing they're gonna do. They're gonna point fingers and say, oh man, y'all talk about Bud because of Polynesian sauce, but then he gonna fight Stanionis or whatever, and they're gonna butcher his name. But the young man got some skills. He's and Earl can't play with that dude. Earl can't play like Earl has to be on point for Stanionis. I ain't even gonna lie to you.
Yeah, but you gotta recognize the fact that this man stood back from his number one contentionship because he knew what was better for boxing and what was better. And now, since that didn't happen, he has a right for his name to be put right in that mix. And that's something, we may have said that, this guy's a dark horse, as you said, he's that. But now when you really put it in perspective, this guy stepped back to allow the fans to see what they want. But he's still the number one contender.
Yep.
And he is in the front of the line. I'm not saying that he's the best of everybody that's in line.
Right. He just
but
next.
He's in front.
Yeah, he's next. He's pretty much what Devin was at that point in time. He was pretty much what Devin was. I think it's a little bit stronger because he done already stepped aside. You know what I'm saying? So he's a little bit higher than before Devin made his ascension and get them belts. That's where he's at. He's right there like, hey, if anything come across here, I'm next. You know what I'm saying? I've been waiting. I'll let you go in front of me, because, y'all had to get that on. Now it's my turn, so he deserves it.
It is. It's his turn.
Yeah. So let's pull forward, man. Let's just put positive vibes out there. Hopefully the boxing guys are going to, grant us what we want since, we can't get what we really want. I would love that fight. I would look forward to that fight, and, we just going to hope it come to pass.
And I don't see Earl staying at 47 too many more fights, because he's already indicated that making 47 is starting to be difficult for him. And you know what? In order to stay healthy at 47, he went to a nutritionist and somebody that was going to help him maintain that weight so that he don't balloon too high, and then have to, go on a strenuous regimen to come all the way back down. Yeah, and see, he did that because he really anticipated the fight with Bud, and he wanted to be in his best shape.
Yeah.
So now, since that didn't happen, is it tactical sense for him to keep doing what he's doing at 47, or make it easier on his body?
No.
And just move up a weight class.
Yeah, no, but see, you gotta consider the whole TO thing. See, I think that's one of the things that people really didn't consider with the TO thing when he first made that when they won that fight in purse bid, him and Kambosos, and I think Triller had won it. When that was first made, the date was set. T.O. had already been talking about, hey man, and T.O. was younger and growing. He was already saying, hey, look, man, I'm getting too big, man. I gotta go up, I gotta move up. And then the pushback. But you gotta also take in consideration, it's not good for you to train. Your body has to relax. Your body needs time to replenish itself. You can't suppress your body for like 6 or 7 months, staying in there and then you training, because you also training. That's your job. You training and you doing your therapy. You know, you getting your cryo in, and your stale civilization and your massages, and you know, you got all that going. But for a sustained period of time, especially for a boxer, you know, you can't keep yourself under that kind of pressure all that time. So then when you're struggling with weight, you really can't do it. You know, so as that fight, when you look at T.O., that fight got pushed back because it was the same date as Mayweather. And then the next time T.O. had the COVID or whatever. And then Triller wet the bed and it got passed to Eddie, so Eddie had to have a venue. But that fight had got pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. And T.O. had been training all that time and dealing with the weight. We're looking at that same thing. So, man, Earl, this is the time he got to get one in if he's going to go ahead and get one in. If not, he need to go ahead and move up and start conditioning himself to you know, train with that weight. You know, not cutting it, because it's different. It's going to be different. He's going to have probably going to have more muscles. He's going to have a little bit more fat on him, you know, just, you know, moving up. He's going to have a little bit more wiggle room. So you got to think. He beat Ugas, but he had to train because he had trained coming back from Ugas. And everybody was questioning, you know, the eye and all this other stuff. So he had trained intensely, and you got to think, before the eye, he was training for Pacquiao. He was training like never before. So all this time, he's been training. He fight Ugas, and it's training, leading up to the big one. So he was probably really like putting extra on everything when he was training. This man got to get a fight, and then he got to decide, hey, if I'm going to stay here, I'm going to move up, because you know, he can hurt himself, especially with one of these young guys, you know what I'm saying, who've been sitting around and just training and then watching and just sparring every now and again, but really keeping in shape and keeping tabs and studying. You know, it's going to come a point in time where he just going to have to, you know, get one more in. If Bud don't happen, move up. But I think it got to line up with after Charlo defend against Tim Kazoo or Zoo. So it got to line up after that, and I think that's in January or February. One of them is right at the beginning. I think it's in January. That date had been set. So after that, you know what I'm saying, Charlo gonna decide, okay, cool, what I'm gonna do, but it should be lock and step. That's why I thought they was trying to time it like that. But you know, we're gonna see what happens. But good, that was a good one today. I appreciate that one.
Okay then, Mike. You know, you keep me in mind if there's ever anything you want to hear me talk about or my opinion on something. You know, I'll be here.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, Mike.
All right, have a good evening.
Okay.
All right.